In this video, we're going to talk about the beginner's guide to building websites. Beginners, okay, I'm going to show you the basics and where to go from there. Stay tuned. Thanks for checking out our channel. This is the Wannabe Digital Marketer, and what that means is that all digital marketers are just wannabes. All of us want to get to the next level, so this is why we built this community, to help each other, so please join. Before we get started, please, if you think this is a cool topic, cool video to do, drop a like. If you are also interested in building websites, hopefully you are if you're watching this, then scroll down, drop a comment, let us know why you're looking to build a website. We're really interested in hearing about that. So why did I get into building websites? So let me just share that with you because I think it'll help you understand your passion, hopefully. In 2008, I was big into gaming, and I started my own team in Call of Duty, actually. And what we needed to do was I needed to build a website so that I can recruit people to my team, and I wanted it to look professional. So I taught myself how to build a website. I really didn't know what I was doing, and I jumped on in and I found an awesome website that provided what's called templates, which are pre-built websites where I can just edit the colors, the images, and it would look like I actually created it. And it came out pretty good, and from there on I really loved being able to edit a file, like code, and then have it show up in an internet browser. That just amazed me. So that's what really drove my passion. From there, I started a community for beatboxing, actually. If you don't already know, I am a beatboxer, and I built a community online called Beatbox Spot, and what that did was that built a social media community, and I was able to create profiles for users. People were able to share videos, and it was just a blast to do that. So that was like a few years long of a project, personal project of mine, and that taught me a lot more about web development. And after that, I took what I knew and I actually got a job at a local business, and I was able to help them build an e-commerce website to sell their products nationwide. And they crushed it. We crushed it. It was fantastic. It was so much fun helping a business build a website, expand their website, and expand their reach. And that's what really then got me into marketing. But however, the web development is an underlying passion for me, and I hope I get you into it as well. This is the beginner's guide. Let's jump right into it. All right, just in a second, we're gonna do a couple whiteboard videos behind me here, and maybe a couple screen shares just to help explain how to build a website. But first, let's talk about the different components of a website, okay? First, you have a domain name. That's what you're gonna type into your browser. So www.google.com. Google.com is the domain name. So that's one piece of a website that you need. Now, you don't need a domain name to build a website, but to put it public so that everyone can access it, you'll need that. Second is hosting. So for a website, basically we'll go over this in detail a little bit, but it's just a lot of files and they need to be hosted somewhere. So this is going to cost you, and this is also going to cost you some money, but hosting is very important. That's one component. 3 is the platform. So you're going to host your website on a certain platform, or you can build it yourself out of HTML, but usually you'll have a platform. It'll be much easier. We'll go through this later too. Third, you're going to have a style sheet. So this is going to say how the website should look, what colors it should be, and what background colors it should be, and what size font it should be, what type of font it should be. Last is the database. Okay, a database is important, and it's not every website needs a database, but most do. So let's say, how does a database work? It's like a table where you can look up values. So if you have a website where people can log in with a username and password, when people enter that information, it's then going to be sent to a database and stored in the database. And if they do like a forgot password, what it does is it looks up that database record and shows it to them. So that's another component, is a database. They're all separate components that work together. Let's jump into it. All right, welcome back. So right here I have a whiteboard behind me, and I'm going to draw out how a website works. Pretty much it's built up of files within a host. So let's start with drawing the host, okay? Okay, this is your host. This is your container of all of your files, all right? So right here, you're gonna have your files. I'm just gonna throw a few more squares in here. And then right in here, you're going to have database. So I'm going to do little squiggly lines for database. Okay. So this is what a host looks like. Basically what it does is it's just going to contain the different files in a website and a different the database tables, okay? So from here, you have different types of files. You're going to have your code of your website, and then you're going to also have a style and, let's say, a JavaScript file. So let's put here style and JS for JavaScript, okay? So what this is doing is saying this is one file, and this is another, this is another, this is another. And so this file right here is going to be made up of code. So how it's going to look is it's going to look like this. This is the website. This is what you see in the browser. So I'm going to write browser right here. Excuse my horrible handwriting. But this is your browser here. Now there's going to be different components of each website in a browser. There's going to be a header, a footer, and what's in between the content. Okay. So I'm going to draw a couple lines here. So you have your header, and you're going to have your footer, okay, and then you're going to have your content. So every page on your website is going to have a header, a footer, and the content that's going to be located on there. So to make this a little bit easier, what websites do is they build out files for their header and their footer. So this might be header file, and this will be footer. Okay, now this page here is this file right here. Okay, so how this works is it's saying, okay, let's code this file right here to display the header, then the content, which is going to be unique to that file, right? And then it's going to be the footer right here, and that's going to pull in that file. So how some websites do this, even with the content actually, they store their content in their database. So database, like I was saying before, it can store username, password, it can store contents, values, and what it does is it's basically storage. So you can store different content. So this file can serve as 100 different pages. It's kind of like how WordPress does it. We'll get into that a little bit later. But so this one file can serve 100 different types of pages and styles and headers, footers, content pieces. And it really works by calling out that database table. So let's move on to here. I want to show you an example of a website and how the files talk to each other, okay? So let me switch up my colors here. I'm going to go for blue. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 different files here. And this is gonna be a simple website, all right? I did something a little bit complex here with the header and the footer, but from something here, I have 3 here. I can't really see those. Let me draw those a little bit lower. My apologies. Okay, so we have 3 files here, okay? So we're gonna make these talk to each other. And we're going to build a website out of it. So what we have here is what the browser sees. Okay. So let's say this is this file. Okay. This file is showing the browser this logo, a navigation, and that's also known as the header, is this section right here. And then we're going to show some content, and then footer. Maybe a nice image here. Okay, so this basically is a header, content, footer of this file here. Now, what happens when you're on a website and you want to click to a different page? So you go and click on that. So what it does is it takes you to this file. So this file is now going to load, and it's going you'll no longer see this file, right? So you're only going to see this file, and then it's going to show the same thing, except the content and the image might be different. So each page that you're on is a different file. Now, as I was saying here, there's going to be a style file, there's going to be a JavaScript file, and basically they're all going to be talking to each other. So we'll get into it in a second, but this is the host, right? Remember we said this was a host? So a website has a host, and the host is going to have all of those different files stored on it, and then they're going to be talking to each other. So that's pretty much how a website works, and we're going to get into platforms in a little bit to show how this is all simplified and made easy for you. Okay, so what we want to show you quick is how to build a website on your computer. I'm just going to draw it on a whiteboard real quick, and then we're going to jump in with a screen share, and I'll show you how to actually do something simple. So we're first going to start with saving a folder on our desktop. Okay, this is the simplest way to do it. All right, just go to your desktop, create a new folder. So we're going to write desktop up here. Desktop. Okay, you're gonna save a folder. That is a weird looking folder. Can you see that? All right, so this is your folder, and we're gonna name this web. So once we build this folder, what we're gonna then do is create a subfolder called style. We're gonna create another subfolder called images. Okay, so we're gonna build a simple website with some images and some style. Okay, so we're gonna build one file. It's gonna be called index.html. That's gonna be your core file. Okay, this is gonna be your core file. So when I say core, I mean this is gonna be your home page. Okay, and then we're gonna build out two simple pages that go along with it. It's gonna be your about page and let's say contact page, right? So under this, you're gonna have about.html, and then you're going to have contact.html. Now, you might be thinking, what does .html mean? So these are actually file names, okay? So this file name is index.html. You can do this by right-clicking within a folder and create a new file, or saving a text file. It's going to be called index.html, and this is going to be about.html, contact.html. .html is a file type. What that says is when you double-click on that file, it's going to open up in a browser. That's what the .html means. If you were able to erase this and do .txt, it's going to open it in a text editor. So that's what this is the file structure of the website, okay? And in the images folder, let's say we're going to have pic.jpg. So that's the file name of the image, and in the styles name, we're gonna have style.css. Now, we're gonna build this together in a second. I'm just pumping this out on a whiteboard. I'll show it again later, but this is the structure. So we're gonna have a folder called web. In that folder, we're gonna have three files. We're gonna have an index.html, about.html, contact.html, and then we're also gonna have two folders, style and images. Within those two folders, we'll have style.css, and within the image folder, we'll have pic.jpg, okay? So, on this index.html, we're gonna put a navigation. So I'm gonna put this over here. This is gonna be the index page. Okay, I'm just gonna draw it out. So what it's gonna look like is we're gonna put a logo here. We're gonna put about here and contact here. Okay, so these are just going to be the links to, you know what, I'm actually gonna simplify it just for timing. I'm gonna put all the links on top of each other over here. Then maybe we could play with the styles. So it's gonna be about and then contact. And then I'm gonna put an image here. Okay. So all this is just this is a very simple version of what the website is gonna look like. And then we're going to link. So once you click on, these are gonna be clickable hyperlinks. And when you click on that, it's gonna go to the about file. So there's gonna be a logo and it'll say about. And it'll say about us. And there's going to be a contact page. There's going to be a logo, and it's going to say contact. And there's going to be some how to contact us. So what it's saying is, okay, these are hyperlinks, and it'll take you to these new files. Again, this file is this here. This contact file is this here. and the images are going to be shown on each page. All right, and it's going to pull it from these subfolders. Now, the style.css, what that is that's going to be a file that's showing us how these are going to look. If you want to put this as a black background with a white logo, or if you want these to be a certain font size, that's going to be coming from the style.css. How does that happen? Okay, so let's talk about that quick. I'm just going to do a little bit of erasing here. I'm going to draw out the structure of a file. All right, so you're going to have a file here. This is a code. This is a file, okay? Not a website. What's going to look like? The code's going to go in here, right? So these brackets are HTML language to show you that there is code within them. So it's going to start as HTML. There's going to be a header code. It's going to end the header code. We'll show you why. And then we're going to have a body. And then you're going to close out that body. We'll show you what we put in there later. And then we'll close out the HTML. So that's the end of the file right there. All right, so now what the point of this head file is, the head section. That's saying what files do you want to pull into, what do we want to learn about this file? So we're going to be pulling in the style here. So we have style.css. Okay, that style.css page is going to show how to make this all look, how the page is going to look, what colors it's going to be, font size, etc. So you're going to pull in the style, and in the body you're going to show, you know, those links to the other stuff, your images, and that's, you're going to code all that. But the style goes in the head, so we'll put that in there. It's going to call that from the other folder. So you're saying, okay, you're going to code in here that folder style.css is in the folder called style. This image is in the folder called images. That's the folder it's going to call. So you're telling this file to go to the folder, find the image file, and put it on this page. So that's just like a basic run through of a website, how it works. Let's jump in and make something really quick on our desktop together. All right, so let's talk about how browsers work. So there's different browsers out there, and that's the application on your computer, like Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox. And what that does is it's gonna show you websites. It's gonna translate the code into what you see today, what you click, what you feel, the images that you're seeing, what you're reading. So basically that's what it is. It's just a way to translate the code and the files into your computer. So what kind of languages go into building websites? I mean, there's a lot of different languages out there, but what we're going to talk about mainly is HTML, CSS. We're not going to touch on JavaScript in this video, but basically JavaScript lets you provide different functions to your website and animations. So there's CSS, HTML, and then PHP, which lets you store variables and calculate more complex logical statements, and also it lets you write to a database. So to have a database, you need to use PHP, and to have a website, you really only need HTML. That's the basics. You don't even need CSS, but we're going to show you in a second.
Alright, so what we're looking at here is my desktop view. Okay, so what I did here is I created a folder. I did that by right clicking, went to new and then folder. This is on Windows, obviously. It's going to be different for Mac. So I have this folder here called website. So this is my text editor called Sublime. I'm going to open this up. So this is pretty much just a text file. It's just an empty file. And what we're going to do is do File, Save As. We're going to look for this desktop here. We're going to go to the website folder that we created, and we're going to name this file index.html. So what that's telling us is this is an HTML file. So I'm going to start coding out something here, and I'll explain it here as I code it. So what I'm doing is I'm starting the structure, the shell of the web page. So this is HTML. So we're saying, okay, everything between these two codes, This is opening the code, this is closing the code. Everything in between here is HTML. All right, so after that, we're gonna create a head. So we're opening the head, and now we're gonna close the head. And in between the head, we're gonna call all the CSS files and any of the image files, etc. But before we do that, after the head, we're gonna create a body section. So this is the body, okay? Now I'm doing this as simple as possible, right? So this I'm gonna indent over here a little bit just to show that it's the body section. So we're gonna keep this the head. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save that. All right, so now we have the boilerplate of the website here. This is just the index file. This is the simple components, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna start creating that header, okay? So we're gonna get a logo, and then we're gonna put in the links. So for the logo, I need an image. So code for an image, that's so you're gonna do IMG for image code, and then SRC to say where it's coming from. Let's just go ahead and close this. So this is the code for the image. This is the source, where the source is going to be. Now I have the image right now on my desktop, so let's jump back there. This is my logo. I have it as logo.jpg. I'm going ahead and drag that into my website folder. Let's open that back up. Now it's in here. So what I'm gonna do, just to organize it a little bit, I'm gonna create an images folder, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna create a styles folder for my style sheet once we get to there. So let me drag my image into the images. So now you'll see we're starting to build out directories for this website. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell this page to then call into this images folder to pull this image, okay? So in our code here, we're going to do /images/logo.jpg. And what that's telling it, the code is to go into this folder and grab that logo.jpg file. All right, so it's gonna pull that. All right, so this is the logo that's now in here. And then beneath that, we're going to write about us. That's gonna be our second page that we're going to create, and our contact us page, okay? And then underneath that, we're going to drop a P for paragraph, and we're going to close that. And this is a sample paragraph, okay? And I'm going to copy and paste this a bunch of times so it looks like a nice hefty piece of content. That's not what I want to do. What am I doing? I want to put this right here, okay? Why can't I do that? Okay, there we go. All right, so that's all sample paragraph text. So let's go ahead and save this. So now we're gonna jump into our browser. How we're gonna do that, we're gonna jump back into our website here, and we have our index.html, okay? So we're going to then double click that. It's going to open this file in a browser. Look what we have here. We have the about us, the logo, which it's not finding. Let's find out why. The about us that we wrote, the contact us, and then a paragraph, all that sample text. So we just built a website, okay? It's very simple. So let's jump back into that code. Let's see our images, the logo.jpg, images, logo.jpg. Okay, oh, I think I might have to erase that trailing slasher. All right, let's refresh this. Okay, now we got our logo. So that you just got a no slash at the beginning of that since we're working out of our desktop. So now we have our website here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to actually just style this a little bit better. So I'm going to center this. I'm going to center this right beneath it. And I'm going to center this in the middle with we'll do 50% of the width. Okay, so I'm going to do some styles here now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. We're going to save this as in our styles folder. We're going to call style.css. Okay. So the style.css is a simple file that's just going to contain CSS code, and what we're going to do, what we're going to call here. So we're going to call this style spreadsheet here. And let's jump out right here. Let's grab this link. All right, so we're gonna paste in this code. This is like an example style sheet code, right? So it's saying where is this style code? So let's write it's in our style, styles.css, right? Our style, which is our folder name, styles. Oh, let me fix that. Styles/style.css. So it's gonna look for that spreadsheet and apply the styles. So before we can do that, let's name all of our different elements, right, that we want to style. So our image name, we're going to give it a class of logo. Okay, we're going to, since we're going to link these, we're going to link these now and also provide us class. Okay, so to link them, this is called anchor text. So what we're going to do is do it href, and then we're going to close the A. All right, and we're going to link these to about. This one to about.html, and this one to contact.html. All right. Now, since we want to add a style to them, we are also going to add a class. Actually, we're not going to add a class. We're going to style them just based on the element. We'll show you that technique as well. We're going to do this as well for the P. So basically, we're going to jump into the style sheet now. I'm just going to give this a save. All right, so what we want to do in this style sheet is we want to center this logo. So the class is logo, so the code would be logo, .period logo, saying that it's a class. And then let's start our CSS code. So we're going to do, let's say, display it as a block. That's going to make it a single element. We're going to do margin auto, so it centers itself. And we're going to, you know what, we'll add a margin to the bottom on that, on top of it. So margin dash bottom, let's say 20 pixels. All right, so now we styled our logo. And the next thing we want to style is our anchor tags. So our anchor tags are going to be centered as well. So since I didn't use a class, we're just going to style the element. We're not going to use the period. We're just going to do A. All right, so now we are going to make them be a block as well, so they're on their own line. And we are also going to do a margin auto, so it centers it, okay? We're going to bump up the size of this a little bit too. We're going to make it 20 pixels, the font size. Okay. Let's also make those colors. We'll go with red. Gonna make a red anchors, okay? And the next element is the P. So we did not do the class tag for that, so we're gonna do P. And then I'm going to do width 50%, so it's not so big, and margin auto, so it centers it on the page, okay? So we have our styles here for our different elements. I'm gonna save both of them, and let's see if it applied it here. All right, we got somewhere. All right, so what we have to do, see how this isn't centered? What we're gonna do is we're going to change this style. Since the margin auto is different for images versus anchors, we're not gonna do margin auto, we're gonna do text align center. All right, let's save that and give this a refresh. And bada bing, bada boom. We got about us, contact us, and the sample paragraph. This is very ugly, I know, I'm just going through the basics. So what we did is we made these a link to these other pages. They do not exist yet. So if we click them, your file was not found. If we click this, your file was not found. Okay, so we need to create these files. So what we're gonna do is first, I wanna edit this index page. All right, so I'm gonna add a heading in here. So that's gonna be H1 index page, okay? I'm gonna save that. Let's give it a refresh to show you what I did there. All right, so I named this index page and I wanna center that as well. So I'm going to H1, text align center. Okay, now that should center it nice, not that nicely, but there you go. You know, while we're at it, let's center this text as well. Isn't this fun? All right, so we're centered. Nice. Okay, so this is the index page. You can see here desktop/website. This is the folders that we made, and then our file name index.html. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our other files. So what I'm going to do that is I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm going to change this to About Us. All right, so we got About Us. I'm going to save it as about.html. So now we have that. I'm going to create another file, same thing. I'm going to change this to Contact Us, contact page. I'm going to file save as contact.html. All right, so we have our contact file, our about file, and our styles file. All right, I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Each now are created in our folder. So let's jump back to our folder. So we have our index, about, contact, styles, and images. So now, since we created these files, let's refresh this. These will now be found. So if you click About Us, it now changed. It jumped to the about.html file. Now it says About Us. If you click Contact, it now jumps to the contact.html file. So these are all three different independent files working together. Now you might see how I'm stuck. I can't get back to the index page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link back to the index page on my logo. So I'm going to anchor it. Okay. Index.html. And then close the anchor right after the image. So I'm going to copy that on each of my pages. All right, and close it on each of my pages here. Save that. Save that. That's good. And close my anchor there. Save this. All right. So now my image here is anchored. So if I go to my about page, I can click this to get back to my index page. So now I can go throughout all of my pages here and browse around. This is basically how a website works. What else do we want to do? We want to add an image, right? So we already added an image, so we don't have to do that. This is an image. It was added in by the image file here, okay? And that is how you build a simple website on your desktop. Now you can have a lot of fun with this. You can style it any way you want. So if you want to style it, I can style my body. I can say body here, background color, black, okay? And then I can make all my text to be white. I have my links already read, so just playing with some of the style in here, I saved that style folder. Now look, all of my background turned black, my text is white, and my links are red. You can't see my H1 because it's still black. You see that? So what you can do quickly here is change color white. And voila. All right, there you have it. That's how you build a simple website on your desktop.
All right, so platforms, how they help making websites easy. So what we just went through was a simple demonstration on how to build something in your computer and how to call different files. However, with the platform, it's all done for you already. So let's say WordPress, for example. That's my favorite platform. It's so dynamic. You can use it for almost anything, and it's pre-built for you. It even has its own dashboard where you can log in, and it's very user-friendly. You don't need to know how to create code. You can click a button that says Add New Page. It'll create a new page. If you want to make a blog, you can create a blog within it. So it's very simple, and I highly recommend it. It brings a lot of the original work out of creating a website, and it's pre-done for you. Most platforms are free too, so I highly recommend using a platform and learning from there. So here's a few tools just to help build a website and edit a website. I recommend if you need a text editor, Notepad++ is a simple, free to use text editor, okay? If you want to get a little bit fancier, there's one called Sublime. That's what I use every day. Sublime is, it's actually free. I donated to it to help support them, but I believe you can use it for free, but don't hold me to that. But you can download Sublime and edit the text within there. And what Sublime does is it lets you actually color code all of the different elements in HTML, so it makes reading the code a lot easier. Other than that, the tools I would use is just within the browser itself. You can view page source by right-clicking on a website and clicking view page source, or you can go to inspect in the right-click menu, and you can actually inspect the HTML on the website. You can look at JavaScript errors if there are any occurring in there. You can edit styles directly in your console. So check out that console. It's fun to play with. Again, you right-click on it once you're on a website, right-click anywhere, and then go to inspect. That little menu will pop up on the bottom and you can start editing right in there. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it wasn't too in-depth. I tried to build a complete guide here on how to build a website and the different components that go into it. So please let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you want me to go a little bit more in-depth on a certain section. Or if you have any questions, please don't forget to like the video as well. And before I forget, please subscribe. I'm going to be posting a lot of these videos, more of these videos about SEO, web development, paid digital ads, and we're going to be, building a community here. So there's also going to be a link in the description to our private Facebook group, the Wannabe Digital Marketer, and you just have to answer a few questions, and you can join that, and you can ask any questions you have in that group, or you can just follow all the different chats going on. So please join our community, and thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.